That's bullshit.
Breakfast.
Let's see what that T-shirt says.
Says you can't tell me what to do. You're not my granddaughter.
Thank you, ma'am.
Wait, she makes her own hollandaise sauce.
Oh, yeah?
That is cinching it for me. Yeah.
I got too much of him in the frame.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. We don't need that.
Yeah, now he's going to be moving out of the frame.
Well, I'm not trying to.
There we are. Now just sit there and look pretty, will you?
Oh, I can do that.
Do you need to look at the menu, or do you know what you want?
I know what I want,
All right.
but he can order first.
Yeah.
I got his eggs Benedict.
Can I get a side of hash brown? Crisp.
Okay, I lied. I don't know what I want.
Okay.
Okay, so this squirrely. This
We don't
squirrely
have
means.
that. That's why it should be all the way marked out, but it's.
Oh, okay. So no, can't have that.
And because he's pan.
Do you want the
I'd
most
like-
expensive thing?
Well, no. I want the Benedict is my favorite, but I'd like a slabbier ham.
Okay.
Okay. Let's just do what I do. Let me have 2 eggs over medium,
Okay.
hash browns. Do you have a loaded hash browns? You know, sauteed
Whatever you
onions,
want on
cheese. Let's throw some sauteed mushrooms and onions and cheese and, load it up.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
And let me have 1 biscuit and a side of gravy.
Do you want white gravy or sausage gravy?
Let's have sausage gravy.
Okay. And do you want the same thing on your hash browns?
What's that?
Do you want yours loaded also, like his? Or do you want yours?
Yeah, that'd be fine. And could I get if she has enough, a little side of hollandaise sauce also? I mean, I want it on the eggs and stuff, but I like that with my hash brown.
All right. And I'm sorry, did you say sausage gravy?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. I got it.
All right.
Thank you.
Check out their appetizers. I'm like, really? Somebody's been around.
Oh, yeah? What's a CBR flatbread pizza? Our flatbread pizza crust topped with grilled chicken, bacon, and ranch dressing. Sounds good.
CBR.
So that'd be chicken,
They have a
bacon, and
bloomin' onion
ranch.
too. And cheese curds. I'm like, well, oh my God, the Packers have risen again.
Oh my gosh.
Funny thing about cheese curds. I don't know why. Wisconsin could do them right. Minnesota, man, they were always over the top salty. So,
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess they just didn't get it.
Well, Karen's cousin made from scratch cheesecake. And
Cheesecake, oh.
absolutely, it was to die for.
You remember Paul and Carolee?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Paul, I always call him Wacko Bitch, but that guy could make a killer cheesecake.
No.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. He could make a killer. And I'll tell you what, Carolee could do anything.
Right.
But, man, she did a pan-fried walleye that was just over the top. Oh.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, they could do it. I'm sure they still can do it, but, You know what he does now? I mean, he was building houses and 8 plexes and 15 plexes and stuff. He operates a crane now. He does crane operation.
Crane operation.
Yeah.
Well,
Cranes, yeah.
there's good money in that.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it definitely takes a skill set. Is it one of the big cranes?
I'm assuming,
Yeah.
but who knows,
Wow.
what it is. I mean, all the setup and everything is basically the same for both of them.
Right.
It's a gantry or whatever. But yeah, that's what he's doing now.
Well, good morning. We are at Terry's place again here in Murfreesboro.
Because I demanded it.
He demanded it, and he's getting Eggs Benedict this morning.
Because the first time we came
he
here,
demanded
he was all
it.
excited, and ended up with a great dish, more than you could eat. And but we were all excited and got diverted. And if I'd have seen Eggs Benedict last time, we might not have been here this time. So here we are. And
good morning. Good morning. So our trip to Vicksburg. Okay. Let me tell you our lodging situation.
You stayed in one of those fancy antebellum.
No, although we should have. We stayed at Red Roof Plus Suites, which was located in the middle of a mall plaza, a big Kroger and a lot of outdoor, little fast food places and little boutiques or chains, shops. Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay, so we arrived there about 1:30, and I knew that check-in was at 3, but the card that I reserved the room on versus what I wanted to pay with, I wanted to, use a different card.
Yeah.
Well, I go walking in there, and no one's at the front desk. And here comes this gal coming around the corner, and she didn't even say, "Hi, welcome to Red Roof Inn," or anything. The hospitality training that you should have received.
Yeah.
It was.
We assume they've received.
Yeah. Well, check-in's at 3.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I understand that. I said, I just want to put on file a different credit card to bill me with. Well, I can't do anything until I check in. I'm like, okay. So it wasn't the information she was providing, it was the delivery.
Yep.
Which immediately just shut me down. Right? Okay, you want to play it?
You weren't butthurt, right? You were
totally
ready to play.
Yeah, I said, okay, we can play this. Now, after that moment, I said, hypercritical is going to kick in. If I find dust anywhere, I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we left and tootled around, did something, and then came back at 3. And she's on her cell phone talking to someone. Well, first she had to get back to the desk, and she was on the cell phone with someone, talking to someone. She wasn't giving me any focus, and I'm like the one that. That's how you get paid.
Yeah.
Through my revenue and thousands of others. Anyway, she says, "Well, do you want to pay on the card on file?" I said, "No, I'd like to use a different card." "Well, just put it in that thing right there, merchant machine." Okay. So I wound up paying before actually staying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. And then she says, "Your room's 120. I said, "Well, okay, how do I get to the room?" Well, you just go over to the right and like this. And you can access it from the outside. Well, no, the doors that go to the outside, down the halls, they're exit only. You can't come back in.
Really?
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So she says, "Well, yeah, you can drive around and park over there." So I say, okay, well, thinking that I can enter the room from the outside. That was what was going through my mind, like a motel.
Yeah, like normal.
All right, so I get in the car and pull around. Well, no, that's a Wendy's parking lot. Okay, you can't, there's nowhere to park. The property is like no buffer kind of thing. And I pulled back around and I said, okay, so how do I access my room? Do I do it from within this structure? Well, yeah, it's just around the right on the corner there. And I said, well, can I have a floor plan or something, or could you show me? just point in the right direction instead of this, And I'm like, okay. Finally found it, and it was inside the lobby and around the corner. And she says, you're where you park your car will be right outside your window. No, we're parked here. Wendy's is outside the window over here. Okay, go in the room. Okay, the room's simple. It's clean. Let me ask you a question.
Was it a suite?
No, it was just single room,
Oh, I thought you. Oh, you didn't get a suite.
Yeah.
Oh, it was red roof and suites.
Red roof plus suites.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And okay. So, have you ever got a room that didn't have a coffee pot available for you to make coffee?
Can't recall.
I never have.
Yeah.
This one didn't. There's no little coffee pot for you to make coffee, no complimentary coffee or anything like that. The next morning, there's a continental breakfast, right? That comes with. That's an amenity.
Yeah.
They had one thermos of coffee.
Yeah.
The continental breakfast consisted of a janky waffle maker. And there was some guy there making a waffle. I'm like, there's no cereal, no bagel, no orange, or no, just this janky waffle maker. I'm like, okay, well, we're not going to have breakfast here. We're getting out of here.
Yeah.
The next day, Karen's chomping at the bit. She wants a cup of coffee. Well, their continental breakfast is from 6 to 9. She gets up. Well, that day, I got us a cup of coffee out of this little thermos, and then we drank that, and she says, well, you want some more coffee? I said, yeah, I'd love to have another cup. She comes back. She has one cup full. She says, we have to share it. They ran out of coffee, and they're not replenishing it. I said, what? Yeah. Okay, whatever. The next morning, Karen's chomping at the bit. She wants coffee. She goes out there, she comes back, she says, they ran out of coffee. They're not making coffee. The little cafeteria to make a waffle was closed. I'm like, what the hell? I said, okay. Well, I made a statement. I can't wait to give a review on this place, right? Yeah. It's going to be scorched earth.
Scorched earth.
Yeah, and I did. On Google, Booking.com, and Red Roof. And of course, I get an email back from someone saying, we're placating.
Yeah, I know.
Just placating. Yeah. We will make changes. No, you won't. No, you won't. There's 1,000 people behind me that's booked.
Sounds like Vicksburg is not a very business people friendly.
Well, what I understand is Vicksburg don't like people in Vicksburg that are not from Vicksburg.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I mean,
kind of like Murfreesboro.
Folks don't put up with that.
Yeah, they just don't.
They want to come to a place that has the amenities that they need, and of course, most business people wouldn't use a red roof, obviously. But it sounds like they're not very business friendly.
And I'll tell you, at checking out, I asked the gal, and she was just up to here with frustration, and she's complaining and whining, and I'm like, I don't care. Not my deal.
Yeah.
I want a printed receipt. Well, the computer's acting up and locking up and stuff. I said, well...
Then write one.
I said, did you reboot it? Well, don't you think I tried that? I said, I don't know. Did you? Yeah. Well, whenever you're backed in a corner and you have to respond fast and you use a number, you'll use 3 to lie. I did it 3 times. Yeah, you're lying. You ain't tried it once. Anyway, while she's complaining and arguing with me, my receipt prints out. I said, thank you. There was a guy standing to me checking out too. He says, never again. And I was talking to him. I said, yeah, I'm with you. He says, I used to stay at Red Roof and never had a problem. But I will never stay here.
I used to always use Alamo. Back in the day, especially if I went to New Mexico or whatever, I always use Alamo because I could get these nice little rigs and stuff.
Right.
Until I went to where was it? Not Detroit. I can't remember the place that I was at. And I went through Alamo, and they bring me my car. And I'm telling you, it smelled like a guy took a shit in there.
Oh,
he definitely left a crop dusting, And I'm like, that's
skid
it.
marks.
You just lost my business forever.
No, yeah.
I'll never use you again.
Mm-hmm.
And I never will. Only takes one for me.
And that's what's Red Roof in. And in my video, I said, do your due diligence. Don't rely solely on. Hit me up, sister.
Probably would work.
Thank you, dear.
You're welcome.
Speaking of coffee, when we moved from Grand Forks down to San Angelo, we had a problem with our electrical feed, the
banjo.
The meter.
Yeah.
I walked out to the meter and it's doing this. I'm like, that don't sound right. And so I called the
kids. What are you doing?
I called the electric company. The guy comes out. Oh yeah, it's short now and stuff like that. Nice guy. Enjoyed talking with him and everything. So I says, hey, you want a cup of coffee? Sure. So we're sitting.
It'll cost you $100.
No, he wasn't the problem. So we're coming from up north, right? And I set down these two giant mugs, coffee cups. And he's like, "You always drink that much coffee?" I'm like, "Yeah. What do you do?" And he says, "Well, we got." He's
teacups.
He's like describing DeSantis. I'm like, "No, man. I'm from the north. We drink coffee.
We drink coffee."
So
yeah. So let's see. After that, I finally got my receipt. We leave, and of course I'm scathing, on video, just burning this place to pieces.
Yeah.
And we pull out, and that same gal and some other girl with her are walking to Kroger, and I'm like, well, who's manning the station? Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Oh.
You got to realize that those are franchises, and you get what you get.
You get what you get. And I told Karen, I says, if we ever come back here, or if we ever do another excursion or have the opportunity, bed and breakfast.
Yeah, that's good.
We're going to find a bed and breakfast.
I did that once.
Yeah. When
I was working for the reserves, the safety managers, we all got together and we'd get together and go places to observe units.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this was out in Scotts Bluff.
Where's that at?
It's in Nebraska, but it's like western Nebraska.
Okay.
And the Army National Guard has a big range for tanks, that big of a range, And so we had some units out there it was just my buddy out of Salt Lake. What was he, 96? And then myself. And he said, I'll let you set us up with motels and everything, get everything. I said, sure, fine, let's do it. And when I started checking in to find a place there, I couldn't get a place, on the weekend. And what it was they were having some kind of firemen get together, and all the firemen from everywhere around were in town to whatever. So that was cool. But I found this little bed and breakfast right out of town called Teapot Bed and Breakfast. And so when they flew in, I went and picked them up, and I says, oh yeah, I got us a nice little place. I hadn't seen it yet, but I said, so where are we going? I says, the Teapot Bed and Breakfast. And they go, leave it up to Joe. He's always going to find something weird for us.
Yeah.
And it turned out a beautiful experience, because there's a rock structure out there that looks like a teapot. and that's why
Very
they call
cool.
it. Yeah, it was, or tea kettle or whatever they called it. And these guys had this, big ass house, and that's what they were doing. They were, basically Airbnb kind of thing. And but the cool thing is that they supplied breakfast, lunch, and dinner while you were there.
Yeah.
And and other thing is, my buddy from Salt Lake, he had been a Army aviator, helicopter pilot in Vietnam.
All right.
Well, the gentleman and his wife, he had been in Vietnam, but he was artillery. Oh, those two, war story city, it was fun to listen to him.
Yeah.
But anyhow, everybody hit it off good, and so we got up the next morning. I says, we'll probably be late because we're going to be way out in the range, visiting our units and stuff, and I said, we might get in late. And they went, that's fine. We've got some kind of thing that they were going to do in town and stuff. You're going to be late. We'll have dinner set up for you. And whatever you want in the fridge, just make yourself at home.
That's so cool.
I know.
That's so cool.
That made the experience awesome. So I wanted to stay longer. They're like, no, we got to. I'm like, I love these people.
The Vicksburg or Red Roof Inn, Red Roof Plus Suites. If you're going to rent it by the hour, probably okay.
Yeah, you won't care.
Or maybe a night, you just need to plop your head down and get the hell out the next day. Probably fine.
Yeah, stay away from it.
Stay away from it. I've been burning them on every video.
When we lived in St. Paul, working for the reserves, I used to do a lot of work down in Chicago because Illinois was part of the region and stuff.
All right.
And go to Schaumburg and stay at the Embassy Suites.
Yeah. Now, I stayed at Embassy Suites, and I love walking in the big center atrium. And
when they talk about, continental breakfast, you got a guy making omelets for you.
Yeah.
The only other place that I thought was better than that, and there's a place in Utah a town called Tooele, okay, and they had all the motels and stuff like that, but they had this local motel, which it supplied everything you needed.
Right.
Actually, really good, to be honest with you. And I liked staying there because they had built a building behind. It was about as big as this building, and it was for continental breakfast in the morning. They had a omelet station.
Yeah.
But the best part was when you walked in, they had an orange squeezer.
Oh.
And oh my gosh, and you just load up some oranges, and this thing would squeeze fresh squeezed orange juice. Oh my God, it was amazing. And if you stayed, like a couple nights, which we always stayed a week, or
morning,
they'd give you like a $20 gift card of your choice, just as a bonus.
Here you go.
They didn't have a, program,
Right.
So.
And I had mentioned in one of the videos, I said, I stayed at Motel 6s that were more, the last one I stayed at is Fresno, because anytime I left Salem to come down here, my waypoint would be Bakersfield. Well, I'd never make it to Bakersfield.
Understand.
I'd burn out, I'd stay at Fresno, and I'd stayed at the same Motel 6 twice. Now it's in the neighborhood of prostitutes. But the staff were courteous, welcoming, and everything like that. Had a coffee pot in the room.
You know what I like about Motel 6? If it really gets bad in there, they can just move stuff out and hose it out.
Yeah, because it's all cinder block.
It's all concrete floor.
I was telling Karen, I says, when I go to conferences and things like that, one of my colleagues, it didn't matter. She always packed her own coffee pot.
Yeah.
Whether it provided it or not. She always had her own coffee, her own filters, her own coffee pot. She made her own, because she's like Karen. She can go to bed drinking coffee.
Yeah.
And Karen says, Karen wanted to go and buy a coffee pot. And I said, no, I said, if we ever get the rare opportunity to do something together again, I have a little coffee pot in the lab. We'll just pack that up, and bring it with us.
Yeah.
Because Karen, I like my coffee in the morning. Karen likes her coffee in the morning. Karen likes her coffee when she goes to bed.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you what, man, stay away from it.
Stay away from
run
in Vicksburg.
Stay away from it. Don't do it.
I've never stayed in a road.
The second morning, we were talking about casinos on the way over here.
Yeah.
The second morning, we decided we would go to a casino. They had a little cafe inside the casino. Well, the casino's going to be staffed.
Yeah.
It's going to be, you can get coffee. Karen said, I've got to play a machine. I said, well, no, you don't got to do nothing but eat your little whatever you're eating, and we can get out of here. Well, she had a $10 bill. I said, it could either last you 2 minutes or 2 hours. So let's break that $10 bill, and I'll take 5 and you take 5. We'll sit together and bond and have a mush moment and play $5. She lasted about a minute. I won 50 cents, so I lasted about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and then we're out of there. So that $10 was burnt up fast. And I said, well.
Yeah. Dave and Nancy and Liz and I went over to this casino on the coast there, or close to the coast. That's his favorite place because, a lot of reasons, but the hotel security
probably has a card hanging around his neck on a lanyard.
Yeah,
I've got them.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, maybe he did. But
I might get a comp breakfast.
The head security guy is ex-Air Force, and so they attached symbiotically,
by the umbilical cord.
Cool guy. I mean, they were both security police, so they really get to.
Oh, they had a lot to talk about, sure.
So, but interesting thing, we talked the other day, and he said, "Hey, if you run into any cigar boxes, old Muriel."
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's his wife.
Yeah.
And so I'm on the hunt for those. But we went over there to gamble, and I love you, Dave, but he tells me I've got a system. I'm like, oh, here we go. My $20 went down the drain as fast as you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But I've told you, I want it now. I don't have time to sit around and dream about it.
I don't know who had what.
Well,
right.
He's him.
Mushrooms?
He's Benedict. Thank you, dear.
Is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
There's you. Ham and eggs and mushroom.
Well, he's got the ham, but I had no, that's not me.
I just had a side of ham.
I don't know what she did.
And
That's why I had taken that food.
Yeah. Well, and I love using. David used to tell me. He'd tell me some idea, and he'd say, "Now, when you take that to market, I get 10% because it's my idea."
he did that to me too.
Who did I use that? I used that on someone the other day, and I told him, I said, I learned that strategy from my brother, and I gave him this idea, and I said, now when you take, I know what it was. I was talking to one of the girls that I know. She's pregnant. She reached out and called me the other day.
That's his hash browns, I think. Yours is the plate with the ham on it.
Okay, sweetie.
And I need one biscuit with sausage gravy.
She's pregnant, and she has horses. And I told her, I said, okay, I've got an idea. I asked her, I said, are you riding? Because, you're pregnant and stuff. She said, no, but I'm working them, but I'm on the ground. And I said...
all right, I got one biscuit sausage gravy coming. I guess she had extra sausage.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
And I had hash browns.
This is your hash brown.
Yeah.
This is his hash brown.
Oh, okay.
I got mine here.
Gotcha.
And I told her, I says, okay, I've got this idea. It's called the shock absorbed saddle. And what?
That was a cluster mess.
Okay,
I'm
thank
sorry,
you.
y'all.
That's okay.
No, you're good, hon. Thank you. Shock absorbing saddle. So when you're riding your horse pregnant, it's like floating on a cloud.
You know,
And she's like, yeah, no.
you can train horses to do that anyhow. It's called the fox trot or box trot or whatever.
I told her, I said, now when you take that to market, I get 10%. I go, oh, geez, my brother's coming out on me. Why, this hot sauce or anything?
No, I'm good.
So, yeah. But our visit to Vicksburg was, if y'all ever get the opportunity, and I don't know how big you are in history and stuff like that, but if you ever get over there, it is an absolute rich history, and it's really humbling, especially when you go through the military state park. It's just incredible.
No, I mean, you still have to kind of. Yeah, but we wouldn't
But for him to speak that out. So, aside from the lodging accommodations, it was an absolute treat to get over there.
I'm just glad Grant took Vicksburg.
Fascinating story about that. Now, Grant's strategies was to storm fronts. He did two campaigns and had to retreat on both of them. The Confederates were that strong, of a stronghold. And he had one more strategy that he wanted to execute. And what he had done is he was able to get those gunships down the Mississippi. They actually cut a canal, and so he could bring those gunships down and go through Vicksburg, which was a gauntlet.
Yeah. Right.
To come in behind and supply his men and provide artillery support that way too, and choke off the Confederate, choke off their supply lines. Well, General Pemberton.
Thank you very much.
General Pemberton, who is the general of the Confederate armies. Thank you, dear. Since the supply chain was cut off, his men were dying. They were getting dysentery, malaria. They were getting sick. They were dying out. And at the Shirley, well, I don't know if it was the Shirley House, but someone from the soldiers wrote a letter and slipped it under the door, and it said, "Give us soldiers, let us soldiers go. Let us go, because we're dying here." And after that letter, and it said, "Sign the soldiers, many soldiers," and Pemberton wound up surrendering. And then history says that he resigned out of disgrace. And I was talking, because I was talking to the park staff, and they're historians and things like that, biologists and stuff like that. Anyway, one of the guys said that was all political.
Yeah, of course.
It was all political. Somebody had to take the fall, and Pemberton was the one that took the fall. And I believe that he surrendered out of compassion for his men. What men he had left, they would be better treated by the Union under rules of surrendering than what was going on. So I think it was all out of compassion. But Grant didn't get to execute his last trick up his sleeve because Pemberton, he surrendered.
Like I said, this morning I started my barbecue. I smoked all day long.
They were saying, and the park's not all the terrain where the fighting went on. I mean, there was fighting going on right there in downtown Pittsburgh, which is right next to the Mississippi River. Mm-hmm. Women would stand on the bluff, and there was a story or a comment, I think it was from Sherman or Grant, that he would look up at the bluff and see all these women standing and watching the engagements going on. And it moved him. He's like, that's right outside their door that's going on here. So it's a fascinating history, this Pittsburgh.
You say Sherman had empathy?
It moved him to see all these women up on bluffs watching.
And then he goes and burns Atlanta. Must not have had a lot of women looking then.
Well,
whatever.
Yeah, but you ever get an opportunity, it's worth it.
So now they can't. They can't until that gets put onto her personal side. They can't serve food there, so they can make it the car lot. It's a nice building on the inside. Gary's place.
Well, I told you Monday I had my how to have a surgery class, and it was all pretty good.
How to live through it.
The only part that was a little bizarre, they kind of take you around all these stations for folks to talk to you, like they did blood work and EKG and all that stuff.
Right.
But then we got to sit down with one of the head nurses on the floor. Okay. And I'm jovial and having fun and everything.
That's how we roll.
Yeah. Well, this woman was Nurse Cratchit. Like, she wasn't buying anything. You could tell she definitely didn't want to be there. Mm-hmm. And when I realized that, wait a minute. This is a person that might be on the floor at the same time as me. I don't need to be lobotomized. So, I mean, I just looked her right in the eye and just kept talking. She's talking, and it's like, so do you understand? Yes.
Yeah. Any questions? With her eyebrows going down. Don't ask me a question.
And so we got done with that, and I'm like, whoa. And as I stood up, I'm like, your shoes untied. And I walked out. It was. But your shoes untied and walked out. And I told Liz, I says, man, I hope she's not on when I'm there. And she goes, don't worry, I'll be there. That's what I'm there for. I'm like, okay. Thank you, sweetie.
My protector. Yeah.
She was not happy.
Kind of like that gal at the hotel.
Yeah, she was not happy.
But I don't respond positively to that kind of interchange.
Yeah, I mean, I knew she was dating somebody here from Fresco, right? Yes, but I did not have, I've never met him. She's actually not my cousin.
Oh, that was the other thing.
When I first moved here,
inside our room, by the front door, little partition, is a sink. Okay, no big deal. And then the bathroom, which is toilet and shower tub. Right outside our door, the floor is laminate wood flooring. The hallway is carpet. Right outside our door, the carpet is wet, which tells me there's a leak at this sink, and it's leaching through the sheetrock. I'm like, oh, I stepped on that barefoot, and I'm like, oh. I don't know if that's raw sewage. I don't know if it's the sink. I said, I don't know.
And then there's the black mold,
You know,
the Stachybotrys.
there has to
And so I think
run.
by the time we moved to maybe in the ninth grade, we called them, she met Andrew.
When Liz and I, we travel with the dogs. I pretty much like to use La Quinta. Because
I've stayed there.
yeah, I mean,
They have a coffee pot in there.
yeah, and they, only one have I ever been to. It was out on the prairie somewhere. I forgot where it was at. It's where we finally drove north far enough to catch 40 across, or no, 80. I think it was 80.
Yeah, so I'm never gonna see her. It's been a long time.
So
Actually, I saw her last year.
that one wasn't all that good, but the thing is you can bring your dogs in. That's what I was looking for.
Right.
I'm talking, I'm sorry.
But the rest of them have always been real good. Now we have used Motel 6 because of the same reason.
Yeah.
But if I'm just staying overnight and getting up early and leaving, I don't care.
Well, and that's how I look at it. That's how I look
Take a
at it.
shower.
No, that was the other thing. There was no housekeeping. The first day after that night, that's when we went out and did our big excursion. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll be interested to see if there's going to be housekeeping. Fresh towels, take away the dirty towels, and empty the garbage can. Maybe throw the comforter back up on the bed or something. It wasn't nothing really to clean, per se. Come back, towels are in the corner, trash is in the trash can. I'm like, okay. So I go out to the reception. I said, this was a different gal. I said, I need fresh towels for my room. What room are you in? I tell her the room, and I'm like, she gives me towels, and I'm like, why wasn't this taken care of while, during the day? And don't you have housekeeping? No, apparently not.
Well, some places do housekeeping like every 2 days.
And that is possible, but
When I used to do a lot of staying long periods of time, I didn't want anybody in my room. So I just hang a thing out the door. Don't come in. I can take care of myself.
yeah. But I want clean towels, fresh towels.
Well, I mean, if you desire that's me. I'm like,
He's character now.
I'll use a towel and hang it up and let it dry.
Ain't got time for that. I mean, now, at home, yeah, that thing will hang for a week. That's fine.
That's my house.
But in a hotel? No.
That's because I gave you one.
You got housekeeping. Give me a fresh towel.
Yes.
So we decided we're going to. They have a Comfort Inn right next to Vincent's up there. So we're going to stay the night because we got to be over there at 5 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to stay the night and go over and get everything ready.
And when are you scheduled for this?
May the 6th, Monday.
Oh, okay.
So that's how that's going to go. Jeremy and Shivani are coming down. Take care of the pups. and everything. Oh, I made an improvement to my house.
What'd you do?
Put in a keyless deadbolt. Combination for the doors, front door.
Really?
Oh yeah. One of the things we do, because we live out in the middle of nowhere, you can be in the back there, and somebody could walk up and pull up and I never even notice them, and they walk right in the house. So we always keep the back door locked. But it's kind of a pain when you come around the corner and want to do something, want to go in the house. It's locked. So now it's just
I have that problem too.
Punch in the code. Real easy to install.
I didn't even think about that. That makes sense.
Yeah. So and I like it because, like, if I'm leaving out early in the morning to do whatever, and Liz is still in bed, just push it and lock it. And it's at least locked. I'm not trying to fool myself that, oh my God, I've got a real security system in. People want to come in, they're going to come in.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get 1 or 2 shots off.
At least.
And the rest of them I'm just going to shoot in the ceiling. So I'm crapping my pants because somebody's in my house,
I get to play cowboy. Which brings up another point at this hotel. Those mounted barriers for the door? You could swing it out and, keeps the door. I videoed. I said, oh, here's something else I got to show you. This thing, I could shake it on the wall.
Oh.
And
been kicked in before, huh?
Yeah, I told Karen goes, well, keep the door from being opened. I said, yeah, unless you push, then it's just going to fall off the wall. What's the point? The toilet seat, or the toilet tank, the reservoir, the lid, big crack in it. It had been broken in 2, and they just set it back on there. I'm like, oh my God.
Did you stay 2 nights?
Yeah.
I'd have been looking for someplace else the next day.
I know.
Who knows? Maybe that's the standard there.
Yeah, they won't.
And wasn't it Vicksburg that was having trouble with their water?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. They got big Mississippi there.
What's the other big town in Mississippi? Is that the capital?
Is Vicksburg the capital?
I don't know. I was just showing you my geography.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I think it was the capital. They didn't have enough money to fix their water system. Kind of a Flint, Michigan kind of thing, except worse because they just let it happen.
Right.
I don't know if they've got it fixed yet or not. So you might be full of bugs.
I drank bottled water.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. However, the coffee was probably made with the
but at least that's
natural
cooked.
water. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. At the casino, I wanted to break Karen's $10 bill. And ran into a fella. I said, so, I was expecting to find, a row of people that, cashed in your chips and things like that, right? I couldn't find it anywhere. I asked the fella, I said, so where can I break this at? He says, right there. So it's a machine, points at a machine. I'm like, oh, okay. Never seen one of those before. Stuck $10 bill in there, thinking it's just going to eat it and I'll never see it again. And spit out 2 5s. I go, well, that is an amazing piece of technology right there. I was impressed. I was literally impressed. I mean, holy smoke.
And this is Woody.
Okay.
I asked Karen, I said, so where do you want to sit and, give them your money? And she's walking around meandering. She did, and the machine she sat at, she couldn't figure out how to bet. It was confusing, and it was confusing to me too. I finally figured it out. But you could only do minimum of 50 cents. Yeah, even though it accepted pennies, nickels, whatever.
Oh, okay, sure.
But the minimum was 50 cents, and that's why it. Thank you.
Still working on mine. Thanks.
That's why her money was gone in a minute. Oh God. Yeah, it was fun though. I mean, that was fun. I mean, we haven't got to do anything together. Well, we went to Eureka once, and that was a back home cluster because we're always concerned about our dogs,
Of course.
and trusting who's going to care for them. And Rebecca took care of them. That's good. All you have to do is feed them.
Yeah. And I love Eureka, man.
Mm-hmm.
I love the restaurants up there.
Yeah.
And of course, I like Northwest Arkansas. I figure, if anything, if we decide to sell, and we might just go up there and move up there, be near Jeremy and Shivani. Tia wants to come back and live there. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, if Walmart decides to do a Boeing, leave Seattle and move to Chicago or something like that, or leave up there and move the Northwest Arkansas is going to have a big problem.
Now she works for. Who does she work for again?
Who's that?
Tia.
Oh, she works for Scott's Sports.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. Their North America headquarters is in Salt Lake.
That's right.
And she interviewed for a job the other day. Another job's looking good so far, so we'll see.
For a promotional opportunity, or?
It'll be a promotion, but it's a different company.
Yeah. Okay. Well, is there no more growth in where she's working now, or is she capped out?
Well, Scott is controlled out of Switzerland. Okay. And of course, the North American operations are, stationed there. But it's like any corporate situation. You've got people that, you have people that they get it and they take care of the company, they take care of their people.
Right.
And then you get people that come in and, it's like, I'm the king and you're the peasants. And that's kind of what's happening. The wrong people are, according to her, are
put in management positions.
They're starting to get into the place. So, and anytime there's somebody leaves or what, you're going to have this comfort zone drop.
Right.
And the guy that left, she didn't particularly like him, but stability was there.
Yeah.
And he was smart enough to delegate. Let people do their thing.
Right.
Just back them up. And so they haven't even filled that guy's position, and that's been open for months now. And the guy that she's working with, because she basically takes care of their bicycles.
Yeah.
Okay. And the guy that she's working with, he was kind of the stabilizing, because he'd been with the company a while and stuff like that. Well, he's slated to retire.
Oh, okay.
And it's one of those things like, in all actuality, the person that's doing all the work is her.
Yeah.
You should put that person in that position, keep the status quo at least.
Yeah.
But it's a typical corporate thing, whatever.
Yeah.
I just want to, reach the top and make money and blah, blah, blah. So anyhow, that's, even in government, when I worked in government, it was the same thing, the guy that you've been working with for 4 years leaves, and now you get to deal with whatever comes, walks in the door.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that.
So she's having to deal with that. I told you she got COVID again, right?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
She's basically over it, but still has, she got some, I don't know if it's bronchitis because of it or whatever.
Oh.
She's getting over that, but, that and other things, just, she's a single mom with a teenager.
Yeah.
That's like...
Well, now she had a relationship with a fellow. How is that?
But that's still on.
Okay.
But, those things progress slowly.
Sure.
And she's very... she's very pragmatic.
Yeah.
Because she has a very heavy responsibility.
Well.
A young daughter. So thank goodness that Chloe's intelligent. She is. And she reasons well.
Right.
He works for Hostetler Roofing.
Did I tell you what I found at a yard sale 2 weeks ago? I went to a yard sale in Nashville. I would have never expected to find this in Nashville, Arkansas. But these ladies were having this yard sale. Their mom had, I'm assuming she passed, but she was a collector of Native American things and, just an eclectic collector. But they were an army family. And so they, lived overseas and things like that. But, so I went in. First thing I found in a box were 2 thunder eggs cut in half. But they were the backside. They weren't showing up, the inside. And I looked and I recognized them immediately. I'm like, pulled those up. I'm like, oh man, they were polished and pretty, So I'm like, well, Tia likes to collect rocks, so that's yours. And then I looked at some other stuff and found a bee in amber.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I found that stuff, and I bought some, I bought a Caccini doll, and I hadn't seen one like this. I mean, I've seen them like this. This is the Eagle Dance guy.
Yeah.
And it's like this tall, but on the regalia, they had glued turquoise stones on it. And I'm like, I've never seen that before.
Wow. Okay.
So anyhow, I got that and then some other smaller Caccini dolls and stuff like that. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm buying this in Nashville, Arkansas. But there it is. But I'm walking around the edge of the carport and I look down and this thing is this big. I'm looking down, I'm like, God, that looks like a tooth. And I picked it up and it was a mastodon tooth.
Holy crap.
Yeah. It was, what do you call it?
I opened December 5th.
Yeah. Petrified.
Petrified, mastodon tooth.
But, it was, like I said, it was this big, probably weighed about 5 pounds. Of course it's rock now. I'm sure it didn't weigh that much, but, for the animal. I'm like, yeah, Chloe's got to have that.
Yeah.
So, because Dave gave her a really nice, not petrified, whatever. Another fossil. Yeah, a nice fossil. And I thought, I'm going to send this out to him. And I had Tia video it, them opening up. Unfortunately, as well as I packed it, it still broke up. But Tia says, I think it was already broke up and just put together. And I'm like, yeah, that's very possible. So they put it back together. They're putting it back together. But, I'm like, I'm in Nashville and I found a mastodon tooth.
A mastodon tooth. Who'd have thunk? Mm-hmm. And this was an estate sale or just
yard sale?
Yard
they were
sale.
They were selling off the stuff on the estate. Lots and lots of stuff there.
The phone system working, the internet, everything.
And I got what for my side hustle.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for stuff. And there's a lot of stuff that you could sell, but I want this stuff to move fast. I don't like to keep on to it.
every time up there at the Vicksburg battlefield, I'd look over the ravines, and during the time of this, there were no trees per se.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all forest and trees and stuff now, but there were no trees. It was all
Cotton fields, wasn't it?
it was agriculture.
Yeah.
And with all that, with all those men, their artillery, their horses, the trenches they were digging and stuff like that, I'm sure it was just nothing but barren mud.
Yeah.
And this is all happening during the summer in 1863.
Yeah.
But I told Karen, I says, man, I'd love to just walk these ravines with a metal detector.
Yeah, just pull one out and watch what happens.
Yeah, I'll be tackled and handcuffed and zip tied and hood over my head.
I noticed a sign coming in to Murfreesboro the other day talking about metal detection. That you can't do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But that was interesting.
Yeah. Well,
when I was in Texas, I had a white metal detector like you have.
Yeah.
And and I was kind of excited, there's all kinds of things in, places in Texas that there isn't.
No.
Every one of those, every time you drive through Texas and you see a point of interest, the law says that you can't do any of that within 1,000 feet of that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. And then I met a guy when I was working at Goodfellow, and I forgot where he worked. And I was talking to him about it, and I says, yeah, there's just no place. He says, yeah. He says, like, there's some places downtown San Angelo that but you got to get permission from the city to do it. And he managed to get some permission. We went out and looked at a backyard, back street place and stuff, and found a penny or two, and that was it. Yeah, that's not something you get to do in Texas.
Where was I? Oh, we were at the historic courthouse, and they had some coins there, and they had a half a dime. It was like a half a dime, something like that. I said, "Oh God, that'd be cool to give to Joe." And then I stepped back. I said, "No, that son of a bitch will just flip it on eBay." I ain't burning $27 on him on that. Hell no.
Yeah, don't do that.
He'll just flip it. He'll go, "Oh, thanks. How much is this worth on eBay?"
Yeah, don't buy me anything because I'll either flip it or I'll regift it.
I'm like,
we were talking about regifting the other day. I'm like, yeah, I got stuff that's already wrapped. Thank you.
Didn't even unwrap it. Here you go.
I am so anti-stuff guy.
No.
If you're going to give me something, it needs to be interesting and something that I would like to, to talk about.
Yeah.
Or money.
Money always works.
Money works.
It's going in the cruise coffer.
A couple of cougar hands would be fine, but I would flip those.
Yeah. Yeah, it just cracked me up. I'm looking at that, and I had you in mind, and I go, God, that would be so cool. I should get that for. No, that son of a bitch will flip it.
Good for you.
I learned quick.
Good for you.
I'm a quick study.
Because that's exactly what I'd have done. I am really, really anti-stuff.
Yeah.
And you know what really helps me? Is going to these estate auctions. I went to one Saturday, and they sold, all the Avon stuff. There must have been 200 pieces, all different kinds. I'm sure some have value.
Some still have the cologne in them.
Yeah. The guy bought. I think it's the guy that bought them. Okay. And he was sitting down, and I think his granddaughter was with him, and they were talking about him. And she had brought it over. It was like a fire truck or something like that. And I'm listening to a talk. I says, and he goes, yeah, there's some still in there. And I says, is it the old, what do they call it, wild country? And turns it, yeah, it is wild country. Bottles it. And he sticks it up to my nose, and I sniff, but he touched my nose with it. And I'm telling you.
It burns, it freezes.
I'm telling you, I'm walking around with that nasty smell.
That'll
All I
learn you.
can smell is wild country. I'm like, ugh. But they sold those 200 pieces. Nobody wanted to buy them. They sold them all for $1.
Wow.
$1. I mean, they tried to sell a batch here. That didn't work. So they moved on. Tried to sell a batch here. I mean, they had them split up, right? Got down to it. Nobody wants those things. And they just pushed them all together and says, $1. And this guy goes, $1. Sold.
You know, and I would think that those are collectibles.
They were, but the problem is Avon made 12 million each of them. And,
So there's plenty out there.
Yeah, there's. I mean, I have some listed that they're going to Salvation Army. I can tell you right now. I'm not. I'll let them play out. Until eBay says, okay, we're not going to list it again, because they'll relist like 8 times.
Right.
For that's like 8 months worth. I'm like, as soon as that comes up, taking them off. I'm going to bag them up or box them up and let somebody else worry about it and take a
ride off.
Take a ride off. Yeah.
Call it good. Yeah. Oh, geez. I remember Dad had those in the bathroom and.
Yeah. No, it's like I said. If they'd have been limited.
Yeah.
But the thing is everybody was buying them because they're kind of neat,
Well,
and
they were clever. Yeah, the
Volkswagens.
Little, different cars and all that stuff.
But it's like Jim Beam bottles. I can remember when those things were hot. Nobody wants a Jim Beam bottle, and it's because people my age don't want that stuff, and people my kids' age, they don't want that stuff.
Right.
So who are you going to sell it to? Nobody. So
they'll just wind up in, a sample will wind up in a museum, and then you'll pay $15 to go look at a Jim Beam bottle.
Okay, most interesting person I met at that estate auction was a lady. I was sitting down. They were working on stuff I didn't care about, and I'm like opening the door for people that are walking out, just while I'm sitting there. And this lady walks up and she said something to me, and I'd seen her with this tall, strapping young man and another girl about his age. I was thinking they were, girlfriend boyfriend thing. They were brother and sister.
Oh, okay.
And got to talking to her, and I said, well, I just assumed you guys were Native American. She says, we get that a lot, but we're not. We're gypsies.
I'll be darned.
I went, really?
Oh, wow.
And she goes, yeah. And I says, she says, but she said her people I'm assuming Sin, which sounds Indian to me. India.
Oh, okay. East India.
Well, India.
Yeah.
Sin. I'm assuming SINHN or something like, or NH or something like that. But I said, well, I thought the gypsies were from Romania, and she says, no, that's not us. And I'm like, oh, okay.
That's those other people. Trailer park gypsies.
They were. Her people are from Central Europe, but not North Central.
Oh, okay.
Northeastern Central.
Yeah, right.
Which is Romania. And
right.
And I says, oh, okay. I says, so you're not like that group out of Pine Bluff, And she says, no, those are the others. Those are the ones people don't. Because she says, I'll tell people I'm gypsy, and they'll like back away from me, like. And I'm like, oh.
Like you got leprosy?
Yeah, no, I can't trust you anyway. Yeah. And she made a statement, it was really cool. She's talking about her family. And most of her family were killed by the Nazis in Europe.
Oh, okay.
But her grandmother made it out, and I think her grandfather. They got out of there and got to the United States. But
they followed Einstein when Einstein bolted.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So, but she was telling me that her people, there's only 10,000 in the world now.
Oh, wow.
Of her people.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, wow, that is real interesting. And so we had a great talk. It was enlightening. I love that. I I had no idea that there was an aspect of the gypsies
Yeah.
that that was this. So anyhow, so her son comes walking in, and big kid, and I says, she goes, "Oh, this is my son," and I stood up to shake his hand, and he goes, "Oh, Joe," and I went, "Joe."
Are you parroting me?
Yeah, what are you doing, old man? But anyhow, his name was Joe, and it was the daughter, not a girlfriend. So it's interesting. They live in Mena area.
Oh, okay.
And because we were close to Mena, we were in a place called Nunley.
Oh, I know where that's at. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, but a lot of her stories were just amazing. She says, my mom taught me how to do tarot cards and all that stuff, and some other things. And she says, that's just so if you need to make a living. I said, so you can read palms? Oh, yeah, I got taught that too.
Yeah, I can read. I can read the cracks in your hand.
Yeah, if you have to, And I thought, well, now that's very pragmatic.
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to teach you some things because of what you are. You can be mysterious, that kind of thing, and read palms.
And here's my blue sheet with a moon and some stars on it with
so
light flashing off of it.
Just a highly interesting person. Her name was Susanna. I'll never forget that name. I said, that's one of my favorite names.
Yeah, Susanna.
I said, I'm never going to forget that name. So I hope to see her again someday. I don't know. I think they just came over because it was close to Mena.
Yeah.
She was extremely interesting to talk to. And they bought a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, but
they would take it back to her palm reading tent. It was like the Cairo, USS Cairo. Now it's spelled Cairo, Kairo, like the Egyptian Cairo. Well, like the Egyptian Cairo. But when you watch the little documentary shorts, the narrator pronounces it Cairo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, Cairo is Kayro, and that's a syrup substitute.
If you go to Southern Illinois, it's Cairo, Illinois.
Well, if you go to Giza Plateau, it's Cairo, and that's where I've been.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, I got to tell you my fishing story.
Fishing?
Let me walk you down this little journey. So I decided, okay, I want to buy. I did some work for Barbara Yates. You remember Barbara Yates? Sure. She called me up. She got into something that was talking to her computer, and I said, well, I was in Walmart, and I said, well, don't call the number. Yeah. First of all, I said, I'm in Walmart. I'll head on out your way. And 3 minutes later, I cleared all that up, which left me with an hour to visit with her.
Sure, yeah.
Well, I told her this story. I says, I went to Walmart. I felt like, okay, it's time to buy a fishing pole and reel and some tackle and, but I went to Walmart and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. There's so much here. And a lot of this stuff I don't even know. I mean, I know, the hook chain, throw your fish on it and lay it in the water until you're done. And I know that. And I know swivels and some hooks and bobbers. And I go, well, gee, do they have you remember those boards that you could clip onto the back fin and descale?
Yeah.
They'd hold the fish?
Yeah,
well, they don't have that. They don't have a descaler. They don't have anything. But I was overwhelmed. And I was intending to go in and buy my fishing license and buy some tackle and a rod and reel and walk out. I walked out with nothing because I was too overwhelmed. So I go to Barbara, and after I'm done with her computer, she gives me some money. She says, now go buy your fishing rod. I said, well, I could either do that or give the money to Karen because she's the queen of cash. And well, it's up to you. And I said, well, I've got 12 miles to think about it. So I get home and I tell Karen, I says, I've got this cash that Barbara gave me. And she goes, go buy your fishing pole and rod and reel. And I thought, I've got the blessing from the woman. I could go buy something, right?
Yeah.
And I'm all excited. And I thought, well, at Bible study that Tuesday, I was telling Mark, I said, I'm just overwhelmed. I don't know what to buy anymore. I don't know anything about this tackle anymore. And he goes, why don't you go talk to Mark down at Parish Equipment? He goes, I said, well, all they're doing, Mark and Mike at JW, Martindale. I said, all they're doing is just making rubber worms, and selling those as a side hustle. He says, oh no, he's down at the store. He's got poles and reels and stuff and tackle. I said, okay. I tried to avoid Mark because he's going to upsell me a rubber worm or something like that. But I'm going to go down there. So the next morning, I go down, and sure enough, Mark's at the lake. He's not there. So I talked to his right-hand man, and I said, well, I need to be walked through this tackle. I said, I need to talk to somebody. He says, that's all Mark.
Yeah.
He says, I said, are you telling me you don't know nothing that's hanging on this wall? He said, nothing. I don't know nothing. That's all Mark's side gig. And if it's raining, he's going to come back. I said, no, he's not. He's not coming back from the lake, even if it is raining. So there was another stumbling block. So to this day, I have neither license nor tackle. So maybe it's God's way of saying, you ain't ready, boy.
You ain't a fisher of men.
You ain't a fisher of men. So,
well, let me tell you, I know the frustration. Okay.
I'm telling you.
Like the neighbors, said, oh, we should go fishing a couple times. He's got a boat and goes to Millwood and catches bass and crappie and stuff like that.
Right.
I told him, I says, it's been so long, you would have to teach me how to fish. I says, I have no idea what to use, when to use it, and where to use it.
Yeah.
Now, if it's walleye, yeah, I know what to do.
Yeah.
Up north, but not here. So,
And that's the thing. I mean, I know how to use a bass jig and things like that, but there's just the line itself is just a whole big section of different lines. And I said, whatever happened to just a spool of 10 pound, 15, 20? No, it's like trying to find a designer condom.
Exactly.
And they're all in these beautiful hook packaging.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so stupid.
Well, it's not to the people that are, doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me,
I get a kick out of watching these boats that these guys are dragging around. Wow.
Yeah.
They're worth more than my house. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. I said, well, I just want to be able to go to a creek side or a mud hole
and that's
or something.
all I want.
And just drop a bobber and hang out.
That's all I want. I mean, I've got...
Eat a sandwich, call it good.
There's a... remember that long hole up on Fallen Creek? Up by Nathan? There was we used to go up there and go fishing.
Okay.
I don't know what a goggle-eye perch is, but that's what Dad would say. And, we caught some big perch up there.
Yeah.
I always wanted to go back. I loved that place. It was shaded and long and, the hole's deep water and stuff like that. Fallen Creek.
Well, and I'm like, I'd love for us to do that, but you got to get your knees all fixed up
right.
so you could do that.
I've already learned that. I'd like to do some fly fishing, but I can't do it right now.
No.
I've got to have, I've got to get these knees done. But that's probably what I'm going to get into next because, I just, catch and release. I'm not, I might take one every once in a while to make some pecan trout, but that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to do that. I miss fly fishing.
Well, I miss just sitting by the bank and just dropping a bobber and
I miss that too.
Catch a few perch or something like that, and then have a descaler. I mean, scale them. Well, we used to scale them with our pocket knife.
Oh, I don't scale them. I fillet them.
Or fillet them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mess around with scales or anything like that. I just fillet them. It's so easy to do.
Yeah.
And now, down by my house, the Mine Creek
I don't have the ice on.
Runs down
by the house there. There's a hole of water down there. There's some, what do you call them? Flathead catfish
Oh yeah.
in there. Now, of course, to catch them, you got to use live bait.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they'll go. I guess they'll do a liver and everything, but normally you have to use live bait on those. But there are flathead in there, and that's the best catfish right there.
Well, and I used to trout fish a lot, and I'd use those little shrimp, frozen shrimp.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ring. Yeah.
You know, I think about it when we were kids. I went out to stay with here's a story for you. You don't remember Dewey Gilkey, do you? In Coquille? Okay, well he was one of my classmates in Coquille. And I was talking to him. I'd stayed the weekend before out in Fairfield. Remember Fairfield?
Yeah.
Okay. And stayed with Wade Gould. And then I was talking to Dewey about, I'd stayed out there. It was I had a great time. And he says, "Hey man, you got to come out to my house. Stay the night. Stay the weekend with us. We'll go fishing down on the whatever branch that went into the Coquille River." And I says, "Fishing? Yeah." He says, "Yeah, we got lots of trout and salmon in there." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So when he talked about trout and salmon, we're talking salmon like this.
Yeah.
Not salmon like that.
Not steak salmon.
Yeah, but tastes like a trout.
Yeah.
So, and then, so I stayed with them, and interesting family. There were seven boys. 7 boys. Okay. Every one of them, their first name started with a D.
Yeah.
There was Donnie, Dean, Dale, Darren, Dewey. I can't remember the other D's, but they were all,
Dante.
they were all
Daniel.
Their first names. Yeah, Danny. Danny particularly. I got a story for you. And their mom, a little 4'9" redheaded Irish woman.
Oh yeah.
And then Dad come in, and Dad's like a 6'7" lumberjack. We're talking about a tree falling down.
Paul Bunyan.
Yeah, we're not talking about riding in a thing and cutting trees. We're talking about, I've got this and I'm going up there.
Yeah.
A big guy.
I'm going to limb this redwood up.
And let me tell you, there was a pecking order. Donnie was the shortest kid, but he was the oldest, and he could whip every one of those all together. Okay? So there was a hierarchy, established. But Mom, absolutely whatever Mom wanted, they did, because if they didn't, Dad would back her up, and I could see why that would be important.
Yeah.
It's where I got to see my first king crab. He had worked up in the Bering Sea and catching king crab, and he had one mounted, big monster thing,
wow.
Mounted on the wall and stuff. But anyhow, I remember going fishing, and we walked down to this creek, and I'm like, "Well, where's your poles at?" He says, "Oh, we'll just cut some willows, and I've got some string and a hook, and we'll dig some worms." Oh man, we caught all kinds of trout and salmon and stuff like that.
That's fishing.
That's fishing.
That's fishing.
But long story short, when I was working for the Air Force in Grand Forks, we made a trip. We had we belonged to the 22nd Air Force.
Everybody's trying to ask off for graduation.
So 22nd Air Force, we had a safety conference at McGuire Air Force Base. No. Yeah. No, it was Dover Air Force Base. And so we're at Dover Air Force Base, and first morning, we're in this facility and getting ready for the conference, and the chief of safety of 22nd Air Force, he's going to open it up and everything. Well, he opened it up, and we had preliminary discussion stuff. Then we took a break, and it was kind of a meet and greet,
Oh, sure.
So my boss, he's a lieutenant colonel, rated pilot. All the pilots are in their jumpsuits, those green jumpsuits and stuff like that. So I'm talking to some guys that I know, and my boss's call sign was Butch. Butch Harder was his name.
Yeah, that's fine.
Butch calls over and said, Joe, come here. And I walk over and there's this young captain pilot, and he says, hey, I want you to meet this guy. And I look at his name tag and it's Gilkey. And I'm like,
are they still doing it?
I says, yeah, he's from Oregon too. And I'm like, really? I says, what part of Oregon? Oh, Coquille. I says, I know you. Butch about fell on the floor. How would you know him? I says, your name's Danny, because Butch told me his name's, Danny. I says, you're Danny Gilkey. I says, your brother Dewey was one of my best friends when I lived in Coquille, and he fell on the floor. Talk about a small planet.
Yeah, definitely.
And we got to talking. I says, I stayed out at your house one weekend, and he says, I don't remember. I said, Butch, there's 7 boys in this family, and every one of their names starts with D, their first name. He goes, that's right, you know us. I says, you got to tell Dewey that you met me. He probably won't remember, because we only lived in Coquille, 2 years?
Yeah, it wasn't that long.
Yeah. And I says, he probably won't remember me, but I remember you guys.
All every day.
So that was fun. Small world.
Small world.
That was a great trip, though. We got kicked out of our BLQ, or billeting, at Dover, because the weekend was coming up and everything was scheduled for reservists to come in and fly big planes.
Right.
Dover had C-5s, and so reserve units come in, they let them fly the C-5, get their miles, or get their air hours.
Right.
And so we got kicked out, but they set us up at a Sheridan in Cherry Hill, right across from Philadelphia, because we were flying out of Philadelphia. And that was awesome, because we got to the Sheridan, got the room, and I says, hey man, I saw they had a bar downstairs in the lobby. Let's go down and have a drink. Okay, yeah. So we go downstairs and we're sitting there. There was a regular bar, but this was just kind of a catch the overflow, I guess.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there and talking and everything, and the bartender, young kid, young guy, he serves us up. I think we had draft beer or whatever. Anyhow, we're talking and everything, and so you guys, where are you from? Oh, we're from Grand Forks, North Dakota. Oh, really? Yeah, that's the Fighting Sioux. I says, oh, you're a hockey fan, huh? He goes, yeah. I says, all my kids play hockey. And he says, oh, yeah. And I says, I like snowboarding. I says, all my kids like snowboarding, too. So we really hit it off with this guy. And after that, the drinks were free. But finally, I looked at him and I says, hey,
I know what you want.
this restaurant here, is it any good? And he says, nah, you don't want to eat there. It was, in the Sheridan. He says, if you go outside and walk around the hotel, on the back, behind the hotel is a strip mall. And he says, there's a, he said there's a, I forgot what kind of restaurant it was, Turkish, where you walk in, you sit on pillows, that kind of thing. He says, good food, that's good food. But he says, next door is Vinny's. It's an Italian restaurant. He says, I don't care what anybody says, best in town.
I'll be darned.
And so I said, well, I'm all in for that, And we walked around there, went to Vinny's. They opened the door for you. It's the classic, kind of, I would call upscale, because it presented itself upscale.
Right.
Italian restaurant with the proteges walking around with the towel in their arm, and guys taking the glasses and making sure there's nothing on them, and stuff like that. On the bar side, and then there's a piano in the middle of the room and the ladies playing piano and stuff like that. And the maitre d' meets us, and gentlemen, are you eating tonight? Yes, we'd like to eat. Sure, come on over. Bring you over, and it's like a booth, except they pull the table out for you and let you sit, and then push it back.
Oh,
and you
wow.
can tell it was just locals.
Yeah.
Okay? And so we, I'd never been in an Italian restaurant that good, and I'm like...
Never experienced that.
Oh, it was awesome. It was just pure, it was perfect.
Wow.
So we get to talking with the maitre d', And so where are you from? Oh, we're from North Dakota. North Dakota? I mean, this guy stood up. Straight North Dakota. Everybody could hear us. And he goes,
North Dakota.
he goes, I have never met anybody from North Dakota. And I says, well, he was born and raised there. Really? And that's where it all went beautiful. Because he's like introducing us to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
You know, everybody.
Now, I've been in those environments where it's like...
We did that in Salem. Remember at the pizza place?
Yeah.
I'm like, what did I do? Remember that? That was weird. I don't know what I thought. You had to pay him to do that. But I mean, he was so enamored with us, and I said, "Yeah, he's from Cooperstown, North Dakota." Cooperstown, North Dakota, and he just made us feel like we're part of the family.
Oh, we don't.
And
better have.
Yeah.
Better.
Heard me screaming.
I did.
So he.
Thank you, ma'am.
After introducing us to everybody, everybody, they clapped for us. They applauded.
They clapped for you.
And then I'd mentioned that Butch is a pilot in the Air Force, and I mean, it was just an awesome experience. It's the first time I ever ate, in the classical Italian restaurant, when you start one entree.
Yeah.
And then you're going to move to the next one. They give you a little bit of sorbet to clean your palate.
Oh, yeah,
so that
yeah.
You can get to the next. Never had that before. They gave us a little sorbet. That's to clean your palate, and get ready for the next one.
Oh,
the food was just amazing. I can't even say enough about how I felt in there, how we both felt. And then after we had our meal and everything, he comes over and he says, "I want to introduce you to the chef." Took us to the kitchen. Let us meet the chef. They're from North. This is Joe and Butch. They're from North Dakota. The chef's like, "Oh my God!" When we walked out,
how do you take that all in?
I don't. It was just
that's so overwhelming.
I know. It was just. It's life,
Yeah.
We were the experience that night.
I'll be darned.
And they were my experience. So anyhow, we walked out of there, and as the door closed behind us, says, "You think they put us on the in the will?" He goes, "I wouldn't doubt it." And I checked up on that place. I met a guy from Cherry Hill. This is probably about. Well, I met him. Where did I meet him at? Actually met him out in Alabama when we were doing work on an old. Ammo dump out there, and I said, "So you're from Cherry Hill?" Yeah. He was a contractor. I says, "I want to ask you something. Over by where the Sheridan is off the freeway." He says, "Yeah." I says, "There's a strip mall back there. There was an Italian restaurant there called Vinny's." "Oh, Vinny's." He says they closed that. It's closed now. I think he said something about the guy passed away and sold.
That was end of the era.
Yeah. But that was one of my hallmark times. Both of us were like, "Wow!" Just couldn't believe it. And on that
what
same
an
trip,
experience!
On that same trip, so we caught our plane to get to Minneapolis. But as we're waiting, that's right. As we're waiting for the plane, as we're walking in to the airport, I looked over and I recognized some ladies from Grand Forks. And I knew that they have these things for the hockey teams, the kids hockey teams, and one's called the it's not Sweet 16, something 17. No, yeah, something 17. Kids that are I think sophomores or juniors.
Oh, okay.
And it was out at Lake Placid. I knew it was going on, and Jason didn't make the team, so didn't get to go. Thank God. I don't know if I could afford it. But
yeah, right.
So I saw these ladies, and we found out that our plane had been delayed because of weather going into Minneapolis. And I'm like, ooh. And so our plane was canceled, which meant their plane was canceled.
Uh-oh.
when I saw him and realized what was going on, I said, Butch, we got to get up to that counter now and get us a plane. I says, because when those ladies come up here, not just a fight's going to break out, but they're going to be pissing and moaning big time. And we got that taken care of. And as I predicted, those ladies, I hate to say it, Sarah Palin said,
soccer moms of the hockey world.
Yeah, Sarah Palin said it best. I'm a hockey mom, and the only way you can tell me between a mad dog, I forgot what the term she said, is she said I wear lipstick. We used to say, the difference between a hockey mom and a pit bull is the hockey mom wears earrings. So I knew this, and it was. But we lucked out. We actually lucked out and got first class.
Oh, sweet.
So we flew into Minneapolis first class. And when we got there and got our plane to go to Grand Forks, that plane was full except for first class, and they put us in first class. So
Nice.
I enjoyed that.
Nice. So you were flying into Minneapolis from Alabama?
Philadelphia.
Oh, from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it was the same trip that this thing happened. So
Right.
it was lucky I knew because, like I said, I recognized some of those moms, and I'm like, oh, they're going to be evil. So let's get up there and get our stuff done first. And we got it done. And you could hear them screaming, what? We're going to tear this place down.
Where's my hockey puck?
I'm thinking, you're in Philadelphia. You don't do that.
Well, and they have an event to go to, right?
Well, no, they were coming back.
Oh, coming back from the event. Oh.
Yeah, it was. It's like Select 17 or something like that, and they, you're invited out to Lake Placid to be with other teams and kind of play each other, and it's just a moneymaker. That's all it is.
That's all it is. Most of that sports stuff is. Oh well. I don't have to do that anymore. Well, to be fair, I never had to do that, so.
Well, I don't have to do it anymore, and I don't miss it at all.
Oh.
I don't want to be like that lady when my kids were playing hockey. So Jason was on a team with a kid. His grandmother would come to the games to watch her grandkids play and stuff, and she used to sit right next to the glass right up there, and we like to get close just to listen to her, and she would just watch the game. She'd go, hit him, hit him, hit him, hit him, hit him, hit him. That's all she said. Hit him, hit him, hit him. I'm like, wow. And we got to.
She's old school hockey mom.
And let me tell you, back in the day, that was the name of the game.
Yeah.
But that's all she'd say is hit him,
Hit him.
hit him. She wanted to see pain.
Trip him, hit him, trip him, smack him.
Yeah, we got the benefit of her because Jeremy played on. No. Yeah. Jeremy played on the younger son's team, so this isn't high school or anything. But anyhow, that was amazing.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
So one of my favorite things that I like about hockey and being involved, when we first moved to Grand Forks, it was in the summer, and there was a hockey camp that was going on. It was in East Grand Forks, but just across the river.
Right.
And it was a hockey camp that was going on, and it was a skating and strengthening camp.
Okay.
And so when we got over there, where we lived was right on the boundary between Central High School and Red Rivers High School.
Okay.
And Jason was dead, he was hell-bent to be on Red River. He wanted to play for this guy named Gary Perper. And so we didn't know who Gary Perper was and all this stuff. And so we got him enrolled into this camp and everything. Like I said, it was a strengthening camp. These guys are skating with weights on them and, doing all kinds of stuff. And then, then they brought out an expert skate teacher to teach how to use your edges and how to get the, when you're making a stride, the moment your skate tips up, all energy's gone. So you got to get it to where you get the most out of it before you have to, change,
Right.
So that's what this lady did. She was we'd met her before because in Minot she had come over and teach skating for the younger kids and stuff. She was from Roseau, Minnesota, and in Minot the hockey coach was from Roseau, but his son played hockey with Jason.
Okay.
So we got to know him and all this stuff. But anyhow, so it was I think the last night, because there were a lot of kids out there, locals, East Grand Forks and Grand Forks and stuff, and Grafton, and that were taking this camp and everything. So I'm sitting up there waiting for Jason to get done and bring his stuff out, and I think it was the last night, and I see him stop, and he's talking to the coach that's been doing all this, and it was a week-long camp and stuff. And of course, Jason didn't know anybody. Everybody knew everybody, but they didn't know him. He's from Minot.
All right.
And so I see him
around here, are you, boy?
Yeah, I see him talking to the guy that was doing the camp and doing most of the work and stuff. And so I wait for him. He comes over and I says, "So I saw you talking to the coach. Who is that?" And he says, "That's Gary Perper." I went, "Oh, really?" I said, "What did you ask me? What did you say?" And he says, "Well, he asked me, where I was from, and I told him I was from Minot, but I live here now." He says, "Oh," so who do you plan on playing for?" He says, "Gary Perper." He didn't know it was Gary Perper. He says, "Oh, really?" He says, "Yep, I want to play on Red River and play for Gary Perper." He goes, "Well," I saw him shake hands. He says, "I'm Gary Perper."
Oh, I just evacuated my.
No. So anyhow, that was kind of fun. Perpers are a mainstay name in Grand Forks, along with Benas. That was an Italian family. That, oh boy, some of the stories I heard about those guys. Back in the day, they didn't have glass; they just had chicken wire, right?
Oh, all right.
And you'd get bumped up against the chicken wire, and if it was the Bena boys that were over there, they'd be nailing you.
Come on over here.
Yeah.
Come on over here.
Yeah.
Come to our family.
Yeah. So it was kind of fun. They're the families. I don't know who it is now, but they're the families.
Oh Lord. Hockey could be brutal, huh?
Yeah. So, yeah, and the thing is anything's political. And
right.
I used to tell my boys,
sadly,
I says, if you're going to make a team, you're making it. I'm not kissing anybody's ass to get you on a team just because of me.
right.
I says, I'm not into that. And I says, if you deserve to be there, then make them want you.
Do it on your own merits.
But that doesn't break the politics up, So what happened was Jason was a sophomore.
Because that's a minority stance.
Yeah. No, he was Yeah, he was a sophomore was JV. No, I'm sorry, he was a freshman. Okay.
That would be JV.
And he was JV. But this guy I knew, he was kissing the coach's butt and got his son on varsity, which is kind of not, it's not a no-no, but it can happen. He got his son on varsity, which his son is really a good hockey player.
Right.
But so was Jason. He could do it. And I'll never forget, Jason was completely deflated, when he didn't make varsity and his buddy did. And they'd skated together for years,
Yeah.
But it's politics, I literally watched this guy saying, "Hey, yeah," talking to the coach, "Oh, let's go hunting. I'll take you pheasant hunting." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Yeah, here it comes."
Typical lobbyist.
Yeah. So they did pull Jason up to varsity, a couple of varsity games and stuff, but they didn't put him on varsity, and there were kids on varsity that were way not as good as Jason.
Yeah.
And I know it's my son, but Jason was a hard worker.
But you could recognize that he worked for it.
Yeah, but anyhow, long story short, so I take this job in Grand Forks, which in North Dakota, that's the mecca of hockey, because University of North Dakota's there.
Right.
That's where the Fighting, whatever, they're the Fighting Chipmunks now, I don't know what they are. But, so It was JV practice. Well, it was practice one night, and it was pretty much close to the end of the year and end of the season. And I'm walking out the door with Jason, and I see the coach, and he comes up to me and he's like, "Did I hear you guys are moving to Grand Forks?" I'm like, "Yep, that's happening." And he grabs me. He's like, "Oh man!" He kind of pulls me down. "Yeah, I need Jason on varsity for next year." And I'm like, "Should have put him on varsity this year."
Yeah.
And I walked away from
Yeah.
Hi there, how are y'all?
We're doing all right.
How was your breakfast?
Good.
You must be Terry.
No, I'm Trish.
Trish is the cook.
I'm the cook.
Well.
Terry's the one that's been running around here with the curly hair.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm the cook. See how short my hair is, so I don't have nothing to pull out.
You know what? You know what? There's a white car out there, and if you look on the front, on the dashboard, there's a package of muffins. I wasn't going to let you get away with it this time.
Well, we had some issues with the refrigerator yesterday, and that's usually where we keep them, and so we've had to stash everything somewhere else. So I'm running through everywhere back there because Vicky said, he said, you ain't getting out of it. He's got nothing.
That's right. Gonna come up with an excuse.
He picked me up this morning. He says, I'm having eggs Benedict. And they ain't getting away with not having eggs Benedict.
That's right.
I'm like,
That's
oh
right.
my gosh.
Well, I found them. Somebody stuck them in the freezer. Like, I'm gonna come in here and see. I found them.
Oh, buddy, that's funny. Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah. Yeah, well, I enjoyed my breakfast.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Yes.
So nice to have a place that does egg Benedict. Love it.
He's one of them fancy schmancy kind of fellers.
Yeah. Tell me another place that makes it.
No, there's not.
That's
I don't
right.
know.
That's right. So there it is. You got the market cornered.
I did one Saturday. I did like 10 or 11 orders of it.
Must have had some highfalutins in here.
I didn't have time to look.
You probably went, again?
Well, and it was a big joke because when we first opened, I was clueless about Eggs Benedict, okay? Didn't have a clue, didn't know what to do. So I was going to near meltdown every time I got the order. Well, when I finally got comfortable doing it, there's nothing to it.
Right.
But it was the whole, I never done it before.
Yeah, that's right.
So the first few we got, and now it's like, oh, I get the pan out and go,
Yeah.
Ready to go, yeah.
Yeah, but it did. It just terrified me. I've cooked breakfast for years and years here in Murfreesboro for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was just, I said, Terry, what in the hell did you do that to me for?
You really should run the menu by the cook.
Yeah, that's always a good idea.
I think you need to take beef Béarnaise off of here, okay?
Look, I'm on Pinterest and I'm Googling it.
That's right.
I mean, like them kids, look, I found out all kind of stuff. Yeah, but now, like I said, it doesn't bother me at all. But I really have a meltdown.
Well, how was your Benedict?
Good.
It was good. See?
All right.
There you go.
And ours, my topping don't come out of no powder. I make it myself.
Yeah, no, I liked it.
Because I even said, Terry, you make it easier on me if you get that, you can get it and mix it up. However you say that.
That's how most people
Hollandaise.
do it.
Yeah.
Most people do it that way.
Well, no, we ain't. She's special. We don't do it like everybody else.
That's fine. That's fine.
That's what sets you apart.
I know. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah,
And
sets
that's
you
why our
apart.
pancakes are big as the plate.
Those are great pancakes. More than I can eat, though. Next time, I'm just going to order one.
Well,
Because last time, I couldn't eat it all. I just couldn't do it.
We're
Yeah.
already known for our pancakes. Because the batter, when you cook the pancakes, it's sweet, so
Yeah,
I say it's sweet enough to eat without the syrup on it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said, I want them big as a plate. I said, yes, ma'am. I can do it.
and see, I like to put my eggs on top of the pancake. And that's how I like to eat my eggs and pancakes.
Every now and then I'll get an order when somebody asks for their eggs on top of the pancake. I'll put it in where you want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just eat it.
You just eat it. I cooked it. You eat it.
That's right.
I don't care how you doctor it up. Yeah.
Well, that's what I've always told them working in the kitchen. That little waitress come up and say, "Can you do such and such and such?" I said, "You fix?" I said, "If it's in here, I'll fix it."
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, it's, I think it's more
God, I got to
lunch, or I don't care if it's in this kitchen and you want it. I'm cooking. That's what
Yeah.
I'm
There you
trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no rule. I don't know who made the rule that you can't have eggs at 12 o'clock or hash. Who made that rule?
So there's a lot of people. Me and my husband, I eat breakfast anytime during the day.
Yeah, during the day. Doesn't matter.
Hey, let's have some eggs and sausage. Okay, you know. Might be a midday meal when I eat nothing else, but
That's right. That's right. There's nothing wrong with it.
so yeah, I like kind of being a little different. I always have. So
Good, good.
Well, and I like that you say, if you ordered that and it's in this kitchen, I'll make it for you.
sure.
It's fine. That's what you want to eat.
Will come and say, "Will you or can you?" I said, "Sure." Oh, okay. I said, "If it's in here, and I can figure out a way to do it the way you want it done, that's the way you're getting it."
There you go. There you go.
That's what I get paid to do.
That's
yeah.
what you do.
And I don't have English muffins. Here you go. That's what he'll do.
That's
what he'll do.
About that one.
That's right.
I didn't come prepared.
Yeah, there you go.
All you have to do is look at that white car out there and you'll see 'em. I wanted to make sure. I wasn't going to bring them in. I thought, if I need to point it out, it's right there.
Look,
There it is.
I had to bring my own.
I'm gonna work with you here.
Yeah, yeah.
Gonna work with you.
That's good. Let me go back in here and go back to work. I just thought I'd come chat with you.
Thank you so much for doing that, Teresa.
And see,
Appreciate
and I
it.
like that too, because when I get a chance, I like to visit with the customers. And
Yeah,
you got people from out of town and here and there. And,
yeah. You never know what kind of jewel story you'll get.
oh, yeah, I've heard some good ones. I've heard some of
They
them.
told me the last time they were here, they were narcissists.
Oh, my.
And that hasn't changed. Notice the camera, right?
That's right, because of this thing.
That can't be fixed.
That is accurate.
No, that is accurate. They don't make drugs for it. There's no therapy.
There's no cure.
There's no cure.
No.
We're the worst, and we live with it.
Oh. Oh, well, okay.
Say they're the worst, because usually they say they're the best. So you're the best at being the worst, right?
That's exactly right. See, you figured out the code.
There it is. You broke the
I broke
mystery.
We're contraries.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the worst. Did you ever watch the movie Little Big Man?
Yeah.
I mean, I read the book twice and watched the movie. I love that movie. But you remember the guy that owed his life to him?
Yeah.
But he became a contrary. He'd ride his horse backwards and he'd go in the water and wash, put water on him, but then throw dirt. Everything's backwards.
Yeah.
When I worked for Bureau of Indian Affairs, I sat down with a lady and I asked her, I says, look, you ever heard of the book Little Big Man? She says, oh yeah, everybody here has heard that book. I'm like, okay. I says, I just want to ask you a question about contraries. And she says, that's true. There are contraries. And it's a ritual. It's a rite. Mm-hmm. It's something that they're doing to make themselves better.
Okay, sure.
So they're doing everything reverse. And of course, in the movie, he gets all screwed up because of Little Big Man asking him questions he couldn't answer because that kind of stuff. But that and the gay community. I said, what about the gays? And she says they were always considered good luck.
Huh.
I'm like, wow.
Now, are we talking about happy people or homosexual people?
Homosexual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were always considered good luck.
I guess there could be happy homosexual people, obviously.
Yeah. Well, that just goes with my theory. If you want to clean up a town, get a good gay community.
Yeah.
They ain't putting up with crap, and they'll get right in your face and tell you.
And their house is clean.
Oh. But yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, that was a true representation.
I'll be doing.
Contraries.
So you're watching Game of Thrones, huh? Is this your first time going through it?
My first what?
Game of Thrones?
Yeah. See,
Okay.
back when it was big and it was fresh and everybody I knew was watching it, but
Yeah.
I didn't have the capacity to watch it. And I literally told everybody I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know anything until one day I get to watch it. And I'm watching it. And even Liz is liking it,
Where you at? Yeah.
Still second season.
Oh, okay.
And who was I telling the other day about it? I said, yeah, I'm watching Game of Thrones now, and it's like, and I was asked what season, and where was I? Anyhow, I said, yeah, I'm on the second season, and this girl goes, oh, you're barely. You're
just
barely
a pup.
into it,
You're just a Game of Thrones pup.
And she made a statement. She says, that's one that I watched everything, all of them.
Yeah.
And it was at therapy yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Or not, yeah. No, it wasn't yesterday. It was the day. It was the last time I was at therapy last week. And I was talking about it, and the guy that was working with me says, oh, man, I can't watch an 8-season series. And I'm like, well, I can.
Yeah.
And this girl that said, oh, yeah, that's one that I don't watch them all the way through either, but that one I watched all the way through.
Yeah.
And she says, you're really late. I said, does it matter? Who cares?
Yeah.
If I didn't catch it way back then, I'm catching it now.
Catching it now. And it's quite an adventure. A lot of twists.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But to write that is just amazing. Who can sit down and write that stuff?
Someone with quite an imagination.
Oh, beyond me. Way beyond me.
I mean, because it's got so many branches to it.
Oh, yeah. Every time you turn around, you're here, and then, you're here.
Yeah.
You're from one end of the kingdom to the other. It's just as captivating.
Yeah.
So it's like the first time I tried to write a story, I was in, it was English 101, comp or whatever, I can't remember. And so the task was to write a story, and I wrote a story where I'm going between one character and another. And I had my structure right, but like I told you, it's just as captivating here as it is here. I wasn't getting that across well.
Right.
So and even then, the teacher said, and that's hard to do, saying it's your first time. It's not a bad, he said you've got it where they're speaking right, but you're not getting it back into like, I was doing this, blah, 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 and then stop and blah, 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 blah. That's not easy to do.
See, that's my shortcoming too, is I jump and I get on tangents and I don't bring it all back around.
Right, yeah. So, but anyhow, I'm enjoying it. Liz is enjoying it. I thought she'd probably be turned off on that, but I don't know. I guess she's just like me, and plot twist is pretty cool. And I have
you'll
no
enjoy
idea how
it.
anything's going to turn out.
You'll enjoy it. I mean, it'll just captivate you all the way through.
Yeah, the only thing I'm hoping is, you've got characters that you love. I don't mind if the characters get killed off, because that's real life.
Right.
Don't make it romantic too much.
Yeah.
Make it what it is. It's a game.
Right.
It's an honest to goodness game. Oh.
You'll enjoy it. Well, let's get out of here. What do you say? You're just going to take that out. Ain't going to say bye, are you?
Bye.
You're not going to say bye. Okay, we had a delightful breakfast here at Terry's again, and had a nice conversation with our wonderful chef, food preparer, cook, however you want. Anyway, you want to slice and dice it? She was nice.
Yeah.
Y'all have a great day.
You too.